Welcome to From Meh to Magic, the podcast by Vibes Tribe, where midlife isn't your breakdown, it's your breakthrough. If you're a woman navigating menopause, mood swings, mental fog, or just feeling meh, you are not alone. In this podcast, we'll be delving into soul-supportive practices, holistic tools, and gentle mindset shifts to help you come back to yourself. One breath, one moment, one aha at a time. This is your sanctuary for slowing down, softening the noise, and remembering the magic that's always been inside you. It's time to reignite the fire, to live with purpose, joy, and power. Because midlife isn't the end. It's the beginning of something deeply powerful. So take a breath, settle in, and let the magic begin. So welcome everyone to our first episode of From Meh to Magic. This is the podcast where we celebrate midlife as a time of breakthrough, not breakdown. And I'm your host, Danen Williamson. We are so thrilled to kick off this journey with you. And today I'm joined here by Barb Moylan. She is the founder of BAM Fit for Life. She's a health fitness veteran of 34 years. She's a true embodiment of healing, of vibrancy, and she's completely healed herself of her cancer diagnosis, her metabolic disease that we're going to talk a little bit about today. Barb is on a mission to help women take control of their health through nutrition, through gut healing, and getting to the root cause. So Barb, welcome. It's so great to have you.
Thank you. So great to be here. And this is the first episode.
I didn't tell you that. That's her little secret. You're our first podcast guest. So, what an honor it is to have you. And I think it's really great because we obviously just had you on our call last week. So I felt like this is great because we've already connected. We're already vibing. So we'll just keep the conversation going.
I love
So
it.
let us start with your story. Tell us a little bit about what led you into the world of holistic health and fitness.
So I have been in the health and fitness industry for the last 34 years. I started when I was 18 and I am 52 now. And it just has always been a part of who I am. And I have always been more on the holistic side, just the way that I was brought up. My mom, um, when I was in high school, was going through menopause. And, she went to the doctor and they wanted to give her all these pills and hormones and she just, I don't, and this was like the mid 80s and she was advanced, I would say, in her thinking and her belief system. And she went after her menopause symptoms with diet. And so at a teenage age, I watched my mom take her health into her own hands with food. And it evolved into she became a raw foodist in her 60s and 70s. And she went to the Ann Wigmore Foundation in New Mexico. And I watched that transformation as well. And, seeing someone that you love and that you admire and that is your mentor and that you're very close to, uh, take their health into their own hands. She was never on any medication in her 50s, 60s, 70s. And interesting enough, and this is what really pushed me into the gut health and nutrition area even deeper than I already was, is when she turned 80, she got tired. She's like, I just want to eat what I want to eat and I want to do what I want to do. And, being a raw foodist is a lot of work. And she started eating the standard American diet. And
Mm.
within 18 months, she was on blood pressure medication and
Wow.
heart rate medication. And she had eczema and um, she had shingles like 3 or 4 times and UTIs. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. And to see, what food can do for your body and
Yeah.
then see what bad food can do to your body, that's when I put all my chips into nutrition and gut health. I still teach fitness, and I really dug in deep, and thank goodness I did, because it has served me and my battle and my journey. So
I love that. I have a similar story. My mom actually, she had cancer when I was younger. I shared that with you. And so that's when we started our whole, like, I can remember she got it when I was 10. And so, like, we were eating fairly healthy before that, but it was like I felt like it was just like a strict, like, no, nothing in the house. And as a child, of course, like, I'm around a grandfather who's like, want a cookie? Or like, like all of these things. And I felt like it was so unfair, but it's really shifting that frame, right? Of like, actually, our food in America is sadly poison. And look
yeah,
at all of the examples of how your mom was eating so clean and then she just shifted and everything just changed so quickly. And our children are growing up this way with
yeah.
this food now. And so it's such a difference. With you, you said this has kind of led you to helping you on your own journey. Can you talk a little bit about that? You've had a powerful journey through your cancer diagnosis. What shifted for you in your healing process? And how did you feel physically, mentally, and spiritually?
So last May 24th, 2024, I was diagnosed with stage one, um, triple positive, HERS2 positive breast cancer. So that's considered a high grade, aggressive, and spreadable form of breast cancer. And, leading up to that, I have always worked out. I've taught every fitness class under the sun since the 1980s. I have always eaten healthy myself. Have I lived a perfect life? No, no one does. However, when I got that diagnosis, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. The people around me couldn't believe. And I remember a few people, well, quite a few people saying, "Oh my God, if you got breast cancer, what is what does that mean for the rest of us? Because you're the healthiest person I know." And so it was a real shocker. It felt like a betrayal of my body. Um, I was confused, I was angry, and I really had to go inward and, you know, and figure it out and find out why. And when, I had spent my life staying out of hospitals and doctors' offices by the choices that I made and the lifestyle that I lived. So I wasn't really, I'm not a big Western medicine kind of gal.
Same, same.
Right? And so getting thrown into that arena
Mhm.
was very uncomfortable and very foreign to me. And, but it's what you're supposed to do
Yeah.
when you get a diagnosis like this. So I kind of followed suit, and to my shock and awe, um, it didn't matter what my previous lifestyle was all about. It didn't matter that I'm healthier than most 52-year-old women. It
Mhm.
didn't matter the questions that I asked. I asked why. And it wasn't genetic, and only less than 15% of cancer comes from genetics.
Right. Yeah.
And it comes from lifestyle choices and our environment. So when my genetic test came back negative, and then I had to go inward and go, okay, so what? I f- I felt broken, and then I really then I really felt broken, and I was like, all right, I've got to figure out what happened. What went on inside of my body for somebody that makes good choices, better choices than most. What happened? And so I went on this quest, this mission to biohack my own body and find out what went astray, what went wrong. And I was able to uncover exactly why I got breast cancer, which, nobody in the hospital or doctor's
Yeah.
offices could tell me. They're like, well, it just happened. Um, because their job is treatment. Their job is not prevention. Their job is not the why.
Mhm.
Um, so, I had to adopt uh, an even greater belief in my body to heal itself. I had to double down on my faith, and really dig into, you know, why did this happen to me? How did this happen to me? And I what came of it is I honestly, and I don't say this lightly, I believe I was chosen to go through this diagnosis this way because I said no to chemo.
Mhm.
I said no to traditional or conventional medicine treatment. And I really believed and believe still to this day in my body's ability to heal itself if you find out what isn't functioning properly and you provide the right tools. And so that's what I've been doing for the last year. And I am currently cancer free. So my choice has been successful and it's not over yet. You don't just, you know, do some work for a year and then you're out of the woods. This is a constant.
Mhm.
This is my new lifestyle. Which I thought, I was here, but boy, let me tell you, there's a whole nother layer. There's a whole nother level
Yeah.
of health that I didn't even know existed. So I'm really excited to share that with as many women, as many people as I can, and hopefully inspire and help them dig a little deeper and take control of their health in a different way. So,
Right. And you mentioned too, like it's not the doctor's job to prevent this,
yeah.
right? They treat, that's their job. And so that's where I think you're here. Like I love that you said you feel like it was your calling in a way. It's a deep, deep painful, realization, but
Yeah.
also through that pain, you get to now tell people and help people learn how to prevent this because yeah, there are so many extra factors outside from the air to the plastics to the every single thing that we are coming into contact with. We're pulling in so many extra toxins in our body and everything. And the normal standard American doesn't know that. I don't think we're aware of this. And so this is where you get to come in. So I'd love to hear from you. If you're passionate about prevention, why is this so important? And then, especially for women in midlife, how can prevention help them?
So, what got me really going, like, like the whole prevention route is that when I went for my ultrasound and biopsy at the hospital, and I became friendly with one of the nurses there, and she told me, she said, Barb, we probably see about 50 or 60,000 people a month, a
Oh my
month,
gosh. I thought you were going to say a year or something. Oh my gosh.
a month. And she said at least 60 to 70% of them get a positive diagnosis. And my jaw dropped. I was like, what? And so I started digging into the statistics. And, in 2024 alone, over 300,000 women were diagnosed with breast cancer. And then when I dug a little deeper, I saw that it's projected in 2030 to go up to 500,000 women are
Jeez.
going to be diagnosed. And I was like, I mean, it's too much.
Hmm.
It's too much. And so when I was, going through my own healing and my own journey, I started thinking like, okay, well, what I mean, the first thing the first thing that I did when I did get a double mastectomy and I was healing from my surgery in October. I had surgery in July and I did my first workshop since my diagnosis in October. in
Okay.
honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I did a prevention workshop. And that's actually how I learned so much is in my research preparing for this workshop. And I really wanted to look at all of the reasons, like, all of the reasons for me personally, what contributed and how could we make different choices? How could I educate differently and show women that, the lotions that we're putting on our
Yeah.
skin and the makeup and the
Yep.
shampoo and all the things that we look at that are normal.
Mhm.
I mean, they're normal. They're normal things. You turn on the TV right now, you see a million commercials of, L'Oreal and all the, cosmetic companies and the perfume companies and, but there's no warning label.
No.
There's no warning label. And so we are blindly walking through life being sold
Yeah.
toxicity. And in my findings for why, I did extensive DNA testing and I found out in through my testing, I got a methylation detox test. And if you don't know what that is, it is a genetic test, and you have 5 genes that are involved in your body's ability to methylate or to metabolize toxins. Well, 3 out of my 5 genes don't function optimally. And I was born this way. So I've been walking around my whole life with a suboptimal ability to get rid of toxins. And I never knew until I was 52 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
you know, my cancer, and this is another thing that women need to hear, especially in midlife, is that, I got a mammogram in 2022. I missed my mammogram in 23. And then I found that I had 3 um, tumors in my right breast. I found them accidentally and I got a mammogram. And by then it's too late. So a mammogram is not prevention. And
Right.
I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off by saying that. But by the time you get a mammogram, you're already, you know, it's already happening.
Mhm.
And I was really upset that there was no indication in 22 that I had something forming, and it didn't pop up in 2 years. It had been brewing inside of my body for at least 6 to 8 years. And
Mm.
what I've learned is that if I would have known about thermography, which I learned about in my
Yeah.
journey.
That's what I'm gonna be doing when I get there, yep.
Yeah, is thermography picks up estrogen dominance and inflammation anywhere in the body, but especially, in the breast
Mhm.
at 256 cells,
Yep.
where mammogram doesn't pick it up until like 4 trillion.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
So if I would have known about thermography 5 years ago in my late 40s, I probably could have caught this. I could have gotten in front of it. So now I'm urging every woman
Mhm.
in their 40s to, I'm not saying don't get a mammogram. One mammogram isn't going to give you breast cancer, but
Yeah.
10 to 15 could.
Right, because of radiation, you're saying, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the radiation.
Yep.
But thermography is non-invasive,
Mhm.
no radiation. It's thermal imaging.
Yeah.
Um, so thermography and ultrasound are now what I recommend to my clients and the people that reach out to me asking for my opinion. And that is how I'm um, monitoring my progress as well.
Mhm.
I'll never get a mammogram again.
Yeah.
Um, so I've learned a lot about my own biology and to find out that my whole life I've not metabolized and dealt with toxicity at a high level or at a normal, even a normal level, there's just a buildup and a buildup and a buildup. And when you have a toxic buildup inside your body, number one, it causes inflammation. Number
Mhm.
two, it damages your cells. And when there's cell damage, disease happens. So
Right.
that was a major factor, one of the major factors that contributed to my cancer. And, you know, that simple test and find out how do you methylate, how do you metabolize toxins could really change the game for you. So
Yeah,
that,
because you're saying from there you can figure out, okay, if I'm not methylating and clearing out toxins as easily, I'm going to need to take a lot more steps to do so.
yeah, there are certain foods to incorporate, certain foods to avoid.
Right.
There's supplementation to incorporate, supplementation to avoid,
Hmm.
to help support those pathways.
Right.
And luckily, I've always been into hot yoga, so I was doing that right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was sweating a lot. I work out a lot, so I mean that was helping, but clearly not enough.
Right.
And also too, that's a big message is that, I thought what I was doing all the things. And I don't say this to scare anybody or to, some people are like, oh, it's just more work to do. But um, you know, working out, making healthy food choices, getting good sleep, those should be the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like that's the bare foundation
Hmm.
that all of us um, need to incorporate into our lives, especially as we enter perimenopause,
Yep.
menopause. I'm going through menopause
Mm-hmm.
as I'm alternatively healing my cancer. So
So you're on a whole other journey too.
I've got two things going on at the same time right now.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that, when you level up,
Hmm.
when you really dig in and you go to that next level of health that you don't even know exists,
Hmm.
you do start to feel better. I mean, I've had more people tell me, you don't even look sick. Like, like almost as if I was lying.
Right.
And I say, yeah, because number one, I chose not to do chemo, which completely destroys any
Yeah.
good good cells
Yep.
in your body. Lose your hair, your skin becomes a mess. You get the circle, the
Right.
I don't wish that upon anybody, but I'm also juicing 40 pounds of produce a week. I mean,
Hmm.
the health benefits, the nutrient density of juicing that much every week, you can't help but glow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So,
And I think too, one thing that you said, obviously you're going through your recovery and and menopause, but for those who are out there going through menopause too, there's a lot of us who feel like maybe it's so hard, excuse me, who feel like it's so hard to just like cook all those meals. But I think the thing is again, it's like another reframe. Like once you start cooking those meals, once you get to eating those on a regular basis, that's going to actually give you the energy to keep going. Because a
right.
lot of where the lack of energy is that's coming from is truly from just eating shit all the time, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
It absolutely is. And, I have people that follow me on social because I've made my whole journey public and I'm very open and honest about everything that has occurred. And I have people reach out to me and say, I watching you exhausts me. Like that it just looks like so much work. And anything different than what you're used to is
Mhm.
gonna be more work in the
Right.
beginning.
Right.
Like I look at, in reflection of a year ago, I look at what I was doing then and what I'm doing now and the amount of things I do in a day between my food, my supplementation, my juicing, my treatment, my, workouts, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But guess what? I just got better at it. Like it was hard in the beginning, and anything's going to be hard in the beginning. But once, I mean, you can think of the hardest thing you ever did in your life, but with repetition,
Yep.
with, you know, the commitment of I'm worth it. I say that every day. Like that
Yeah.
L'Oreal commercial is so, I'm like, I am worth it. And
We all are. Yeah.
I'm going to do the work because I am worth it. And so are you. And, nobody's coming to save me. I
Yeah.
have to do the work.
No, that is the biggest thing too, is nobody can do it for you. Nobody
Yeah.
can save you. And so it does ultimately come down to us. I had a lot of health issues that I share with you off the podcast too that I've been starting to move through as well. Chronic adrenal fatigue, all of these things. And so it's like, do I want to cook all the time? No, but I know that that's going to help me in my journey of healing. And so it's we have to choose us, and that's where it starts. And
Yes.
then building that repetition is going to make it get easier. And then just like you said, you go up another level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that looking at your body as, this is your house. This is where you live. This is, to me, it is a temple.
Yeah.
And I care for it, now even more so, um, at the highest level because, I used to joke and say, I'm gonna be, the funnest and fittest 90-year-old woman you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, then I got hit with a cancer diagnosis and I was like, oh crap. Like, man, I am I even gonna see 90,
Yeah.
let alone be, fun and fit. But I gotta, do the things to take care of this vessel that I was given. And, you know, my cravings, my sacrifices, people are like, oh my God, all the things you've sacrificed. Yeah, I've given up a lot,
Hmm.
but let me tell you, what I've gained from it, the amount of self-love that I have cultivated in this journey that honestly I've never experienced. I've never experienced from another human being.
Mm.
The love that, putting everything you got into yourself. And
Yeah.
look, my situation is very different. I don't have children. I'm a single person. Like, I mean, it is just me. I don't have a husband. I don't have a boyfriend. I'm very independent. I'm very myself, but um, it has become the greatest love affair
I love
in
that.
life because, it's me taking on, this challenge and and being so self-full.
Hmm.
And, I know it can't be easy for the moms out there that, have children and have families and have to give so much
Yeah.
of themselves. I mean, I've always given so much of myself to my work, to my
Hmm.
clients. And, that's that they have been my children. They have been my family. Um, but when you really look at, your longevity and your quality of life and your ability to, you know, live a healthy and long life, you sometimes you got to just kind of stop and go, look, am I gonna fall into the cycle of, cravings and what feels good in the moment but then feels like crap
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. I
Yeah.
have so many women that come up to me with gut issues
Hmm.
and they're like, I just feel awful, Barb. And I'm like, you can make a couple adjustments and within a week you could feel better. And then a month and then a year, like, So it's really about self, turning up the dial
Hmm.
on self-love.
Yeah. And pouring into yourself, like you said. You mentioned gut health. Let's talk about that for a few minutes. What are some signs? So, when these women are coming up to you, what are some signs that their gut health might be out of balance?
First one, always bloating that
Yeah.
like, how do I get rid of this? And they grab their belly. How do I get rid of this? And as a fitness trainer, I get asked that a lot. And I never answer with do more sit-ups ever. It's always your food.
Hmm.
Um, they feel sluggish. They don't have energy. They feel gross inside of their own body, and that should never be a thing.
Yeah.
So many women are walking around feeling gross in their own skin and headaches and tired and
Yeah.
sluggish and just bloated and full and inflamed and um you know the brain fog and just kind of walking around just feeling meh.
Yeah.
Hence the name of the podcast.
Seriously, you feel
Feeling meh,
meh.
you
Yeah. So if
know?
this is you, okay, so if this is, describing you to a T, what are some things? Again, we've talked about prevention. So you said it's sounding like food is really a big thing. Don't do sit-ups, it's looking at your food, right?
Uh, the first thing that I have somebody do is, and it's free, it doesn't cost any money, is download an app that I use. Yep. And we talked about this
Yep.
on Friday.
Yep.
The Bobby approved app is the one I use. Now there's others. There's like I think Clean It or there's other apps, but
Yeah.
I've dabbled in the other ones. I really like the Bobby approved app. I like what he does with his social media and the
Yeah.
education that he brings. Um, and um, ingredients. You gotta look at the ingredients. There are so many hidden ingredients that,
Tons.
what's that?
Tons.
Tons.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have literally told people to download this app, go scan your entire kitchen, start making the swaps. And once you make the swaps out, give it a week with the new and improved food. And then I check in with them in a week and I ask them, how do you feel? And they are shocked. They're like, oh my God, the bloat in my stomach is starting to go down.
Yeah.
My skin is looking and feeling better. My headaches are gone. My stomach just in general feels better. Um, I'm going to the bathroom better.
That's a big
My
one.
yeah, my headaches are going away. I'm sleeping better. My eyes are clearer. I don't feel as gross
Yeah.
in my own skin.
Yeah.
And when you take those chemicals, I mean, I have a very strict rule. If I do not recognize an ingredient or I cannot say it, if it does not roll
Hmm.
off my tongue
Yeah.
with ease, I do not purchase whatever it is.
Yep.
Like I won't eat it. And I know that that has contributed to, how I feel, my skin, my lack of belly bloat.
Hmm.
So that one thing can make a major, major shift in how you look and feel.
Love
I,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So for those out there listening, start with that. Start with reading your labels, start with, just trying to eat clean and all of what Barb just said, and that's where you'll begin.
Yeah, definitely don't read the packaging.
Yeah.
'Cause the packaging
Oh, yeah.
is not regulated.
Most healthy
Yeah,
brownies out there on the market.
My best friend unfortunately was in the hospital with her mother, and she posted on Facebook an Ensure, and it said therapeutic nutrition on the label. And then she flipped it over, took a picture, and posted that. It literally had like over 50 ingredients that were all chemicals, but it's
Yeah.
therapeutic nutrition, which is total bullshit. I
And
mean,
I think what makes me the most angry is that people are getting paid for this marketing. I
yeah,
think that's really because it's like you're out there to intentionally hurt people with your words. And so, I mean, that's a whole other thing to get into. But I think about, as the parent out there who don't know, who don't look at the labels, who don't understand what the ingredients are. I remember the whole first year I made my daughter's food all from scratch and her lotions. Like I ordered organic shea butter and jojoba oil and all these things. So I'm like, I don't want to put anything on my baby. But then here I was for years spraying perfume on myself, putting the
yeah,
lotions on, all of that. And I'm like, why can I not put anything on my child? But I was willing to put everything on myself. So that
yeah.
was like the wake up call for me. And when I started to shift of like no longer wearing perfumes, no longer doing any of those things. But it's the marketing. So don't, just like Barb said, don't look at the front, don't look at the marketing of what they're trying to tell you it is. Read the ingredients and understand that. So,
It's a big misconception. It's a big, you like, I mean, I'm on I'm on a Celsius mission. If I could get
yeah.
every woman off of Celsius,
Yeah.
it was marketed as a healthy version of Red Bull, and it's not.
I've never had one.
It's totally endocrine disruptor. It is awful. It just tears up your gut, and it's addictive. That's the other thing, is the addiction. It's like,
What's
oh,
the addictive? Is there caffeine in that?
well, yeah, it's an energy drink,
Yeah.
and then I can't remember the name of it, but there's a particular chemical in there
Okay.
that I mean makes it even more addictive than the caffeine is. And
Gosh.
it's and here's the thing that you've got to understand that I learned in my journey is that the two areas of your body that are very involved in estrogen um, metabolism, estrogen distribution, and getting estrogen, either out of the body or regulating toxic levels of estrogen are
Mm-hmm.
the liver and the gut. So if we're not taking care of our liver and our gut health, it's really affecting our estrogen levels. And I really had to sit on that one for a minute. I recently did a hormone health course. I wanted to learn more about hormones, and I did it through the Integrative Institute of Nutrition. And when I learned that fact, I was like, oh, okay. If I would have paid more attention to my liver health and maybe did a little bit more with my gut health. I mean, I really dug into my gut health about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have added in the liver thing earlier, because I had estrogen dominance in my
Mm.
breast cancer diagnosis,
Yeah.
again, I could have made a difference in my outcome. But that's where, now when I work with my female clients, that glass of wine at night to relax you, affects your liver.
Yeah.
It affects your toxicity level. It affects your liver function. It ruins your sleep. It ruins your ability to repair
Mm-hmm.
muscle tissue. So if you're working out and you're drinking a glass of wine at night just because, it's really affecting, I believe, and this is just my you know what I've come up with
Yeah. Yeah.
is that I believe with the women that I've spoken with and that I talk to that the women that tend to moderately drink tend to have worse menopause symptoms.
Mm,
So I don't drink, and my menopause symptoms are minimal.
yeah.
Thank goodness.
And that's where when I hear women always saying, because I'm not even perimenopause yet, but I'll be there in a few years, hopefully maybe longer. But when we are going through that, like my mom was never a drinker either, and she barely had any symptoms. And so you can't compare one person's journey to another person. You're talking about your hormones, you're talking about what you eat, you're talking about your sleep, like everything is affected. So when I hear a woman say, "Oh, you just wait," like, no, it's not about that. It's about, just like you're saying, your choices are what's going to make your symptoms better or worse.
One of my really good friends, when I turned 50, and she was 53, 3 years older than me, she said that exact. She goes, "Oh, you just
I
wait.
hate
Wait
that.
till you hit menopause." And she said to me, she goes, "That cute little body of yours,
Yeah. Yeah.
bye-bye." And I was like,
Mm-mm.
"No, girl." No, 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 no. Like, I
Yeah.
am gonna do all the things in my power,
Yeah.
and back to what you said about it being a choice. Your choices
Hmm.
dictate so much more than we
Right.
realize. And if anybody walks away learning anything from this podcast, let it be that. Your choices, the food that you consume, what you're putting into your body is going to dictate how you regulate your hormones, how you sleep, how your body responds to this midlife change. And if you want to make, and again, everyone is different. So there's
Hmm.
no, I can't put any guarantee on this, but I would much rather roll the dice with good choices and have
Yep.
the chance of less symptoms than have what people have said to me, which is, well, I enjoy my wine at night, and I'm not going to cut out this, and I'm not going to cut out that. And I say, okay,
Yeah.
you know, that's your choice too. But when you're having horrible hot flashes, when you're having horrific cramping, when, your hair's falling out and you get, the belly, your body starts to change,
Yeah.
the fat distribution starts to change. It's not just menopause,
Hmm.
it's your choices.
Yeah. Every action you've taken.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
That was a good way to finish. We're gonna start wrapping it up. This has been good. I could keep going with you because I love talking about this stuff. Let's do a quick fire questions. What is your favorite meal to feel vibrant?
oh, juice.
Mm.
I know it's not a meal, but it just invigorates me.
Yeah.
I recently, because I'm putting more attention on my liver, I juice celery every morning and I
Mhm.
drink it on on an empty stomach, and it just lights me up. I don't know how to explain it.
So is celery
I,
your favorite juice? Because I was gonna ask you, what's your favorite one?
yeah, well, that, and I love beets. I love beet
Ah,
juice.
I can't do beet juice.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll get there.
I mean, I think I'm staining my teeth with the amount of beets that
Yeah.
but I would say, you know, I do make a great lemon, cucumber, ginger, and I
Mm.
put it in my water
Hmm.
throughout the day, and that just is so refreshing. And so, you know, it just feels clean and good, and it really helps me get a lot more water down. Um, but the juicing, even though it's work, but it's such a labor of love, and it
Yeah.
just makes me feel light. And I know some people are like, "Oh, but you lose the fiber," but you gain the nutrients. I mean,
Hmm.
the amount of nutrients that you gain. And literally, like, I mean, I've had people say to me, like, "Oh my God, your skin glows." And it does, because of that damn juice. The amount a
So
juice I drink. So it's a great anti-aging trick.
yeah, yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
What is your morning ritual must have?
Oh, so the first thing I do when I wake up is I fill up from my Berkey filtered water system is at least 16 ounces of water with my lemon, cucumber, ginger concoction
Mhm.
and salt and
Love it.
rehydrate.
And those who are wondering what the salt does, I do the same thing, but can you explain what the salt does for you?
So the salt helps to transport the water deeper into the cells.
And it
And
has to be a specific kind of salt, right? Yeah.
yes, not all salts are created equal.
Don't
I
put table salt in your water.
no, the one that I use that I recommend is Maldon, Maldon. You can get it on Amazon for like a big tub for like
Yeah.
$14. It's a great clean. Um, a lot of the pink Himalayan, even Celtic salts have a lot of lead, a
Okay.
lot of heavy metals in it. So I got uh, a research study done on salts, and I chose the one that has the least amount of heavy metals in it, which is the
Yeah.
Maldon, is a
Which
good
we
choice.
all need. You need and we all need to. Yeah.
We need salt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, need it. You need the minerals
Yeah.
in the salt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that just helps me just kind of, and it prepares the digestive tract. Um,
Hmm.
it gets it ready. It helps with a morning bowel movement,
Hmm.
and it just gets you ready. And I just feel, I feel good after I feel hydrated and ready for the day.
Yeah. Love that. All right. What is one myth about midlife you're calling BS on?
Ooh, oh, one myth. that it's easy. No, it's bullshit. um, that you have to suffer. Like,
Mhm.
the whole thought of like, well, it's just something you got to do. It's
Mhm.
menopause. It's like, well, good luck. There are a lot of things that you can do to minimize the impact of midlife. And unfortunately, for women, it's been overlooked.
Yeah.
It's not something that has been highly researched. It's not
Hmm.
in the forefront of women's health. I mean, it's starting to.
Right.
It's starting
That's
to.
what we're here for right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's platforms like this. It's people like us that want to educate and want to inform other women that I mean, I hear it all the time. It's like, well, it's just, I'm going through menopause and this is just what it is.
Yes, I do
And I'm
too.
like, oh, hell no, sister.
Right.
There are so many things that we can do together as a tribe, a no pun intended, but um that can make this transition bearable and make it doable. And it doesn't have to be horrible with the right tools, just
Yeah.
like my cancer. Until you get the right tools,
Mm-hmm.
you can you can do anything with the right information, the right tools, and the drive to be different.
Yeah.
Be different
And you
than
don't have to suffer.
yeah, and you don't have to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
The norm, no, this doesn't have to be our normal. I
Yeah.
say we rip the lid off of it and we create our new normal, our way.
I
That's
agree.
what I want. That's what I
I'm
want.
there with you 100%. That's what I'm trying to do too. I'm just like, let's thrive and create a new normal. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so our last question that we're going to ask every guest that we have on here, what's one meh moment that secretly turned into magic for you in life?
My cancer. I mean, it has become one of the greatest gifts. And I have people say to me all the time, you know, in the beginning, and even now, I still have people that find out. They're like, "Oh my God, I don't know what rock I've been living under, but I can't believe you have, you got
Yeah.
breast cancer. I'm so sorry." And I say, "I'm not." But, in the beginning, I had about a 5-day pity party, and I
Yeah.
was I was all the emotions. And I looked, I'm telling you, Danon, I looked in the mirror and I didn't even recognize myself. And that was the moment that I said, I am not gonna let this beat me. I'm not gonna let this beat me down. I am going to grab this by the horns, and I am going to turn this into something amazing, and for myself and for others. And
Yeah.
that's, I'm on any mountaintop I can get on, sharing my experience, because so we are so much more powerful than we think we are. And until you're faced with something, unfortunately, and that's part of the my message, is that don't wait for a diagnosis. I beg and I plead. There, we are so powerful, and the more information you have, and the sooner you can take control of your own body,
Yeah.
believe in yourself and your ability to navigate through life, and you know, get the right information from what you guys do at Vibes Tribe, which is amazing. Um, and just learn and apply. You are the driver of your future. You control the life you're going to live, and it can be one that is, you know, healthy and happy, and you know disease free, or it can go the opposite way. And my goal is to empower and educate as many women as I can with the right information, so that they can make better choices for themselves and feel good about the choices that they make. So
Mm. I started to tear up and I got full body chills when you're like, this is my message. Because I could feel it from you, and that's powerful. And I think your mission is going to inspire so many more women. And I hope that this podcast reaches them today, and that you continue to reach them, because it's so needed in a community where women haven't, our health hasn't been put first. And so now it's that time where we just start to spread the knowledge. We start to spread the love, bringing us back to self-love and nourishment, instead of, ripping apart like our love for ourselves, and coming from a place of hate. It's about truly,
fear,
yeah,
being afraid,
yeah, yeah,
and unfortunately, the that's the other thing, is the current medical model. Like, they were trying to get me with fear, and
mm-hmm,
I wasn't having it, because I believe so deeply in my body, and what it's capable of. And everything that I've gone through in my life has prepared me for this.
yeah,
And the more that I can share, the it makes it all worth it. It makes it all worth it. So I'd do it over and over again, if I had to.
mm,
I don't regret a moment of this past year, because I've I've hopefully, um and I hopefully in this community, this podcast inspires somebody to go, you know what, I'm gonna do things, a little different, because I'm capable. I can do it. So
you can do hard things.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, you so can.
Barb, thank you so much for your wisdom and your energy. Tell us how listeners can connect with you.
So on social media, I have two Instagram and Facebook pages, and it's my name, Barb Moylan. And then my business is Bam Fit, the number 4 life, on social media. My website is www.bamfit, the number 4 life.com. And then if you want to learn more about my cancer journey, I created a website for that, and it gives all the details, which is www.beatingcancermyway.com.
I
So
love it. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today with us. As a reminder for you listeners, you don't have to wait for a diagnosis to take your health seriously. Your body is always speaking to you. So tune in, excuse
Ben,
me,
love
tune
that.
in and trust, right? And just to close on a loving note, remember that midlife is magic when we listen, love, and lead ourselves back to our truth. So until next time, keep vibrating higher, tribe. We will see you then. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning into From Meh to Magic. If something's stirred in you today, take a breath and let it land. Let it guide you. Remember, you're not behind, you're not broken, you're becoming. And if you feel called to join in on the journey, we welcome you to explore our tribe at vibetribe.co. Through expert-led classes, live events, and fun gifts, it is our mission to help you go from meh to magic. We hope to see you in there.